Hello friends, hope you are well. TechManPat here. Today we're going to be reviewing the TCL C825, the budget-friendly TV that apparently can do it all. It is 4K, it has mini LED, VRR support. We're going to go through all the exciting features that it brings at this price range of 3,000 Australian dollars for a 75-inch TV. Make sure to like this video if you did. Let me know below what you thought and make sure to subscribe to support us. Let's get started with a full review of this quite amazing TV. Let's go through the highlighted features. This TV is mini LED with quantum dot technology, more on those two in a second. 4K Ultra HD, it has full array backlighting, a Dolby Vision IQ, more on that in a second too. HDR10 Plus, it has some IMAX enhanced features for sound and visuals. It has built-in Onkyo speakers, both a sub and front firing ones. It is based on Android TV. It also has hands-free voice control, 2.0 apparently, but I'll tell you why it's not that great, and 200 clear motion rate, with the most important feature as to why I purchased this, and that's variable refresh rate of up to 120 Hz. Lastly, the cherry on top for this TV, apart from following the HDMI 2.1 spec, it is the ALLM, which is auto low latency mode, which is perfect for gaming, and we'll talk about that in a second. Now, with a bit more detail, what is mini LED? Well, as you can imagine, this is an LED TV. Obviously, it's not OLED, it's not individual organic LED lights that light up, not at all. These guys are standard as they get, but the one unique thing with it is that it doesn't just have a standard backlight LED. In fact, it doesn't have a massive array of 12 to 30 LEDs. They're quite large. In fact, this one has very small, hence mini LEDs, and thousands of them that allow this to provide an almost like OLED experience without the incredible price tag of a 75-inch OLED TV. And what does it actually mean? Well, it means you can get very, very dark blacks. The only downside of this technology that I can see so far, that I've experienced, is some slight blooming when you look at the TV off axis. And by off axis, I mean not sitting in front of it or roughly too far to the side. You will start seeing a bit of purple where a black meets a white. The quality of this is absolutely stunning. The colors are very vibrant, and that HDR10 Plus really brings out the contrast differences in a lot of the videos that you might watch. But remember, the content has to be HDR10, and at the moment I have found that Prime Video has probably the best HDR content, especially the TV show Grand Tour, which I absolutely love. It has some of the most stunning scenery filmed in HDR, UHD, and Prime Video provides that with their standard subscription. So check that out if you have a chance. Every TV manufacturer uses marketing numbers to exaggerate the refresh rates of their TVs, and TCL is no different. You see, the TV industry has a history of obfuscation. They don't, for instance, really want buyers to know the only difference between LCD and LED TVs is the backlighting. They are both LCDs. For that matter, they never wanted viewers to understand the nature of backlighting, period. And now comes mini LED, but back to clear motion. You see, terms such as passive matrix and active matrix were used only when dealing with LCD sets, but LEDs use the simpler terms edge lit and direct lit. They honestly want you to think that sets use different technologies, and they realized that too many were beginning to catch on to the phrasing, so they changed it. This clear motion rate tag of 200 is an artificial number to make it look like a refresh rate. You see, CMR generally depreciates brightness while it smooths motion and ends up providing a soap opera effect to the TV program you're watching. So ignore all that, because this TV has a native 120 Hz refresh panel, and though content is only available via the HDMI 2.1 input, which is better than many TVs out there right now, yet still TCL promotes CMR. Now, clear motion rate fakes a higher refresh rate by multiplying the static 60 Hz refresh rate with black frame insertion and backlight strobing as many times as possible, depending on the speed of the processor in the TV. I guess they have to compete with Samsung's motion rates, Sony's Motion Flow XR, LG's True Motion, and Vizio's effective refresh rate, who also mess with the numbers and mean nothing. Further to that, there are these gaming features that you might call just a game mode, especially from a marketing standpoint, game mode really does reduce the latency. It works really, really well, and VRR reduces any screen tear that you might experience in a video game. And it is up to 120 Hz, which is absolutely fantastic. The games that I've played at 120 Hz have had to be downscaled to 1080p, which doesn't really make most of this 4K TV, but it was playing really, really well, and it was really nice to use it on a large TV, even if the 1080p source wasn't as clear as I hoped for. Dolby Vision IQ is actually a really good feature, not so much marketing gimmick. At the top, there is a bunch of sensors that sense the light around you. It can actually adjust the screen brightness to make sure it doesn't burn your face off. Even though 400 nits isn't that high, it's still pretty bright, and you can use it in full daylight. Right now, this window is completely open and we're at 40 degrees, middle of the afternoon, and this TV is clear as day, you might say. So it gets very bright. But Dolby Vision IQ does mean that in the nighttime, when it's fully dark and you've got that cinematic experience, it can actually automatically lower that brightness to match the ambient light inside the room. Apart from the burning, it also has quantum dot technology, which allows this TV to get some really, really vivid colors. And this would be fantastic if it wasn't for the lack of tools to actually adjust this on the fly and save it to a specific maybe profile or setting. But the quantum dot technology, when it is set right and you fiddle around with the settings, my goodness, does the color blow you away. Absolutely fantastic. And it would be extremely difficult for me to capture this on video right now. But let me tell you, when you're sitting in front of this TV, it is brilliant.
The TV is running Android TV, and of course that means you get to experience everything that the Google ecosystem has to offer. Obviously Netflix, Prime TV Stan, Disney, Plex, and of course some of these services provide really good UHD quality like Prime Video with their basic subscription. All these things look really good on this TV. The colors are great, the apps work well enough, just like any standard TV app. The setting is split into two areas, one for Android TV and the other one for the TV itself. Now let's talk about what's frustrating about the settings. As you can see, there are settings here which we can go into picture mode, and we can select what kind of picture modes we want. Sports, Smart HDR, low power, vivid. I recommend using vivid for watching things like YouTube. It looks really good and sharp, and of course on a TV show, vivid looks really good, but sometimes it can be a little bit overpowering. In movies, it depends on what type of movie it is. If you want Dune, I would suggest the IMAX settings that are available. So you may be wondering where this IMAX setting is. Well, unfortunately, it's all source dependent. If you're in the YouTube app, you'll get something called Smart HDR and Movie. If you're in Plex or Netflix or Prime, you'll get another option called IMAX and no Smart HDR. These settings are contextually available depending on the source. Hence, if you flick from source to source, the menus change, and it gets even worse when you turn on or off game mode. One thing that does stick around throughout all the settings is brightness, color saturation, and black levels. And there is an apply all picture settings to a current input or all across the TV. This is again problematic because these settings are again contextual and don't show up everywhere. For example, if I want to now turn off the game mode, I will have to turn on sports mode, or I go into a PlayStation 5 source and then I can turn it off to get my picture modes back and choose what I want there. It seems a little bit silly for me to have to go to my PlayStation source to turn off game mode, but then I can turn it on from anywhere after the fact.
Further to that, there is one feature that comes with this TV if you buy it in Australia at the moment, and that is a little camera up top. And yes, privacy has been thought about. It clips on the top and it has a mechanical shutter that closes if you're not using an app that is a video app. Now, what apps can you get? Well, obviously you've got the Google Play Store, so you can get apps like Duo Calling or maybe Skype or Google Meet, whatever you want. You can have calls with your friends. Let's have a quick look at the camera. So we'll go into Google Duo. It will then open up the camera very slowly. There it is, there I am. Hello. As you can see, it is pretty darn terrible. It is not something I would recommend using for anything really, but as you can see, it's good enough to just do a call to a family member. There are 4 HDMI ports As you can see from the top, HDMI 1 is got 4K at 120 Hertz. We go down, we've got another 4K at 120 Hertz. Then the last two HDMI ports are only 4K at 60 and 4K at 60. So your gaming consoles will go into the first two. We've got a LAN port, a USB 2.0, two of them in fact, and one of them has 5 volts, 0.2 amps. We've got a TV antenna in, AV in adapter, and headphone adapter, and a digital audio out. As soon as I boot up the PlayStation 5, it will navigate to that channel, or if it doesn't, you can obviously adjust it with the chooser here. It's really cool because it does have the source name of it, PlayStation 5. It is plugged into HDMI 1. You can also have a media player if you're plugging in things like a USB with a hard drive and so on. And obviously you've got your TV choice here. You can use Google to actually ask it to go to a certain HDMI channel. But for now, I tend to just either turn it on and just start playing. As far as colors go, everything that is supposed to be bright gets really bright, really good. Your eyes kind of hurt, but it's absolutely stunning. Even in this dark sections here, everything looks really, really good, and it's very smooth, depending obviously on the game. If we jump into a different game, for example, it just doesn't get any better than this. Obviously, this is not a game, it is a demo, but it is something that just is incredible. Look at those lights, and it is a good example of what this TV can do, especially around lighting and dark bits. And of course, the coolest thing is that variable refresh rate just manages all that, and we get no screen tearing. And this has been great on computer games, on computer monitors, but until now, you know, the variable refresh rates just only come to consoles and of course to TVs. So this is a real breakthrough in regards to content for the gaming genre on a TV. Now onto the sound. This is where it gets a little bit finicky. The sound, it's not quite right. Again, the settings aren't really helping. There's this AI thing that can help the sound, and what it does is it tries to adjust what's too low, brings it up, and what's too high brings it down. But what ends up happening is it makes the loud parts super loud and the quiet parts even quieter, and hence I have turned that completely off. I thought it might normalize all the sounds, and if you've done any sort of audio production, you will know that normalizing will bring everything to a rough middle level, especially the lows and the highs. But for some reason, this just doesn't do justice to the Onkyo system built in. Because if you blast the sound really, really loud, above 20 to 30, it sounds fantastic. It has a built-in subwoofer right in the center. In the back, you can see it bouncing around when the sound is going through it, and it's got some really nice front-firing speakers too. You can't fault the sound. Again, I'm faulting the software that's in there. The good thing is the remote is kind of good, it's good enough, but let's talk about that hands-free control 2.0, because it's kind of bad. It's actually really bad. Most of the time, what the companies would do is put a microphone inside the remote that is Bluetooth connected to the TV, and hence it would, you know, speak into the remote right next to the microphone, and the TV would pick up what you say. Unfortunately, in this case, it looks like there's a microphone in there, but it doesn't quite work very well. You have to shout at that TV to do anything. And it doesn't seem integrated into any of the apps either. Using Plex, for example, the search doesn't really have an option for a microphone, not like you would use on an Apple TV, which works so well. But even on my NVIDIA Shield, the way you would speak just work. This one just seems really problematic. The fact that it's 2.0 doesn't really help, and it makes this TV feel a little bit dumb. This 2,700 Australian dollar TV is the best TV I've seen for this price. Let's go through the reasons again. 75 inches, mini LED, blacks like OLEDs, so good. The contrast is absolutely fantastic. The colors are 90% there, maybe not perfect, but it's good enough and you won't notice the difference because you'll be watching it in here. The settings and the menus are a little bit frustrating, and not enough settings and adjustments to make it perfect 10 out of 10. But again, you look at the price for this size TV with a built-in Onkyo sound system where you don't need a sound bar, you won't need it at all, and a subwoofer in the back makes the music and movie sounds and gaming sound absolutely fantastic. Then the cherry on top that makes this my choice of the TV in 2021, maybe even going into 2022, is the VRR and low latency game mode that's built in. As you saw, those games looks absolutely fantastic on this giant TV. The blacks are great, and the latency from your controller to the movement in the TV is spot on. I cannot imagine playing my PlayStation 5 on any other TV apart from this one, and games are definitely more enjoyable on a big screen TV. And you don't have to sit too far because of that variable refresh rate. It doesn't wreck your eyes, and playing at 60 Hz at 4K, whatever the game might be, just makes it a perfect experience in my opinion. So it ticks all the boxes: movie watching, TV watching, gaming, all in one without a giant price tag. And of course you can hang the TV, and of course you don't have to buy anything extra like a soundbar. So friends, let me know what you think about this TV. Comment below, we'll chat to you there. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like this video if you did, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Lots of stuff coming in the future. And if you have any more questions about this TV, or maybe a test I should do that I haven't thought of, please let me know, and I'll try and get that video out to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in another one. Bye!